We are back with a recap of the Blue Jackets once again getting routed in Finland by the Avalanche, this time by a score of 5-1. It was ugly again. Jake Voracek was out for this game. He is listed as day-to-day with an upper body injury. Matthew Olivier draws in for him, and Eric Robinson was elevated to the third line. Didn't really seem to help much or do much. The first period, the Jackets give up a goal almost immediately on a 2-on-1, but they, after this goal, they have pretty good fight back. They look lively. They have a really dominant shift in the Avalanche end. I believe it was the top line, Boone Jenner drawing a penalty. And on that power play, they scored. So this is back-to-back games in which the power play has scored. They tied the game at 1-1. It was a Boone Jenner deflection off of a Zach Werenski shot. So that's something that you love to see. You like it, and it's that's something positive to be building on. And you go into the locker room in the first period tied at 1, a chance to really build on some of the momentum that you had in the second and the beginning of the third period of last game. You're looking a little bit more competitive early, and then the second period happens. The team collapses in on itself. Andrew Peeke with a really bad turnover to lead to that second goal, and then the third and the fourth one. And then the game is over 5 minutes into the second period. The Jackets after that, it completely killed their interest in their compete in the game. It looked like, and this team, when it gets like this, it looks like they look miserable. And I'm not just saying that because they look they look bad, of course, but I mean miserable as in like they don't look like they enjoy playing the game of hockey anymore. And again, this is not me saying that they're not trying or they're not putting in effort. But it just looks like they go out there and they're just dreading their next shift. They're dreading having to do anything to have to, try to drag this boulder of weight that they're feeling on their shoulders right now in a forward direction. I saw this post-game quote from Patrik Laine that kind of sums it up. He said, quote, "It sucks. I'm kind of wishing that this trip had never happened after this. I feel like it was just a waste of time for us. It sucks. That's all I've got to say." And that is an insane quote from Patrik Laine because this was a trip to his home country. He had a goal and an assist in the first game, and he's coming back from this trip feeling completely dejected and regretting that it ever happened. And I'm sure Korpisalo probably is feeling a little bit of the same way. He gets his first start today. It didn't really matter, as was the case last season. It didn't really matter who was in net. The Jackets seemed to be giving up a bunch of goals. Again, the Jackets last season setting a franchise record in goals for and goals against. They are on pace to shatter one of those records, and it's not the good one. They're on pace to give up even more goals than they did last year, which was already a high for this club. And it's just disappointing because Korpisalo coming back from hip surgery after giving up that first goal on a 2-on-1 is like, what are you going to do? That's his first shot he has to face back. Thank you, Blue Jackets defense. And in that first period, for the rest of that first period, he was really solid. That second goal, maybe you should argue he should have gotten back in position a little sooner. But again, that second goal was kind of created off of a turnover. It was not a good play. And then a lot of the goals are just kind of like, well, what are you going to do? They're giving Colorado's best players prime scoring chances. Nathan MacKinnon had 7 assists in this 2-game series. I know Nathan MacKinnon is a fantastic hockey player, and he just got that huge extension for the Avalanche. He's definitely making up for the money he left on the table in his last contract. But oh my goodness, any player getting 7 assists in a 2-game span is unacceptable at that point. And this feels like the kind of stretch run that makes something have to change. And it's not just that, it's because, again, the Avalanche, Stanley Cup defending champions, even if the Blue Jackets are playing up to expectations, it isn't out of the ordinary for them to lose 2 games in a back-to-back to the Avalanche. It's the way they're lost and the way that they've been losing. They've been losing games like this for a while now, and it doesn't seem to matter who it is. It feels like forever ago since that win against the Rangers that the Blue Jackets had, where they seem to have some momentum, and then they have that home game against the Coyotes that was a complete disappointment. And it's been pretty much that same game over and over again, no matter who they're playing. I know they've had a tough stretch after that, but man, it feels like something has to change. But when you make what move can they make? It's very uncommon to see very big trades happening at this point in the season. And if the Jackets do want to make a move like that, they're probably going to have to give up way more than what they're getting is actually worth. Do they make a coaching change? Again, if they do decide that Brad Larsen, it's time to go, and it's looking more and more like that, is this this group of players just seems to, for whatever reason, not be ready to play or up to the task. They fire Brad Larsen. Who do they get? I know the popular answer is Barry Trotz. Do you think Barry Trotz looks at this situation and thinks, yes, I want to go here? Because this isn't like NHL GM mode. This isn't an NHL franchise where you can just offer a coach like 10 million more than he apparently wants on the free agent market, and then they just automatically say yes every single time. That's not going to happen. Is this ownership group even willing to pay for two coaches at the same time? I know that was theorized when Torts was writing out his last year, and it was very obvious that he was not the right coach for this group. But they kept him out throughout the year because the theory was the ownership didn't want to be spending money on two coaches at the same time. Maybe that's different because they are spending pretty close to the salary cap, but you feel like something has to give at some point here. The Jackets' schedule does get a little bit easier after this, so maybe they rattle off some wins after this and get some confidence going. But I'm not sure what this team's identity is. They obviously don't defend well, and their goaltending isn't good enough to bail that defense out, and they're not scoring at a consistent enough rate in order to keep up with the goals they're letting in. That power play being a perfect example. We kind of excused it a little bit early in the season, although not much, because Patrik Laine was injured. Now that he's back and part of the power play, and still the result, I know they scored another one today, but you look at that power play number and it's still super ugly and it sucks, and it's just not acceptable. So again, credit to the Avalanche for doing what they needed to do to get a couple big wins against the Blue Jackets squad that is definitely vulnerable and definitely ripe for the picking as of this moment. So if you made it this far, thank you all for watching. Leave a like and a comment if you made it this far, if you liked it and you'd like to see more like it. Let me know if you have something to say down in the comment section below. I can barely talk because, again, this Blue Jackets team almost leaves me speechless. I don't know what else to say, really. Again, thank you all for watching. I will see you at the next one.